Welcome back. I have one lead chess game I want to analyze in this video. It's from a couple of nights ago, and there's one position that lost me the game, and it was this position right here. Don't ask me how my opponent got this pawn in here because I don't have time or a desire to go through the entire game, but I do know that this opening was broken early, and this got ridiculous that they got this pawn down in here so early. We're on move 17. But they made a mistake when they put their queen here, and I think the reason that they put it there was to protect the pawn, because it looked like I was about to capture it. I don't know what they should have played, it's not really my concern, but I was trying to figure out how to get that pawn. And the one idea I had was f6, which it says is my second best move, because that would block the queen from seeing that pawn. Then I could take it with the rook or the queen. But it says it would have put my opponent further in the driver's seat if I had played f6, because then they would have castled, and they would have had a rook and a queen pointed right here. But wait, then I could have just taken the pawn, because I have a knight pointed there. But I also thought, before I move this, I want to threaten their queen a little bit. So I brought this rook over to d8. That turns out to be the one move that lost me the game. The only thing I could have done to save it at this point, according to Stockfish, is long castle. Now I do see that that also would have brought the rook to d8, but it would have put my king on an open file. I mean, technically a semi-open file. They already have a pawn, coming right here. I don't have a pawn here to stop it. They can very easily get a rook in front of it, and once they castle, they'll get their other rook over here, and my king doesn't have anything to hide behind. All three of those pawns are gone. But that's what I had to do. I had to long castle here. But yeah, bringing the rook over is the blunder that lost me the game, but only if my opponent castled, which they did. Now here, instead of playing f6, which I was strongly tempted to do, I recognized that they're about to line a rook up with my king and or queen, and I didn't want my queen to be there when that happened. So somehow I figured out that knight to e5 was my best move here. Now, a couple of things that led me to that, I think, were the fact that that would allow my rook to be attacking their queen, the knight would be defended, and it would block their queen from seeing this pawn. So it was kind of a triple purpose move. It did turn out to be my best one, but they're still way ahead as long as they go over here and check, and they did. I have to block with the rook. Nothing else makes a lot of sense here, and I'm not sure why it's counted as inaccurate because it's what I would have played. My opponent brought a rook over to line up with my king and queen, and now I have to play knight to d3. Only move that keeps us at +2. Oh, that looks bad. But I guess I am threatening the rook, and then the rook would have to move over, but I would still be behind. But I finally did play f6 here, which allows me two different ways to take this, and that pawn protects my knight. But it doesn't matter because my opponent can play this. Why is that great? I'm not sure. Now I am supposed to take this pawn, but I think I was worried about knight to c6, which would attack my knight, exposing this, the queen lined up with the rook lined up with my king and queen, plus that knight over there would be attacking my queen from the side. And it does indeed say that if I took the pawn, that they would play knight to c6, but I would get out of it by checking, and then they would move their king over, and I don't know what would happen after that. It would get really complicated because I still can't move my knight because it's pinned, and I can't take their knight because it's protected by their queen. So to get out of this, I moved my king over by the pawn, and that turned out to be a huge mistake as well because they can give up the rook for the knight. My opponent didn't know that, but they played their next best move, which was to check me, and I thought it would be a good idea to take the pawn, but I didn't. Oh, I remember why I didn't take the pawn, because I thought they could, I thought if I took the pawn, they would fork me. And it does say that that's what would happen, and then they would get my queen. So instead of taking the pawn, I went up here, but you know what the problem with that is that they can take my rook for free, and they did, and I resigned. So that all goes back to long castling. Right here, I had the long castle. That would have avoided all of that. Once again, I think I understand, not why long castling is good, but I understand why what I did was bad. But if any of you can help me out with understanding how I could find this, if I had a similar position a week from now, what principle or idea could I use to guide me into finding that and deciding that's a good move with their queen in the middle and no pawns to castle behind? But not long castling here is what lost me the game. As always, I appreciate you being here. If you have any input, I welcome it. I'll see you next time.